This is a Kawasaki KVF400, Prarie 400. This is another cheap quad that I acquired, project quad. This one was owned by the same guy who owned the Grizzly, and he had acquired it, and then he had said that it was running when he got it, but that it was burning oil really bad, well, smoking really bad, so he assumed that it needed a valve job or a top end rebuild, so he didn't want to put any money into it. And then it sat out in the back of his shed for quite a while, and then I came along and bought it. So I think it's a 99 or a 2000. One of the things I noticed right off the bat was it looked like it had almost brand new front tires on it. There's actually still the blue chalk line or whatever it is that they put on the new tires when you get them on both these front tires, and they got nice big lugs on them, and they don't look all dry rotted. So those tires are pretty recent. You also don't even have the little nubbies worn off on the sidewalls yet. So back tires aren't bad. Plenty of lug on those still. And they, if they do leak air, they only have slow leaks, which I can live with. Engine's not seized, unlike the poor Yamaha. So thing I noticed right off the bat when I got it was the fuel tank was empty, but it definitely has a stale fuel smell to it. So I picked up a carburetor kit for it, and my goal here is just to get it running and see exactly how bad the smoke is that comes out of it, and then also to determine if everything else with it seems to work okay before I bother putting any money into the engine on this one. The only thing I don't like about this one is that it's a two-wheel drive model, whereas the other two quads, the Arctic Cat and the Yamaha, are four-wheel drive. The Arctic Cat being full-time four-wheel drive, it's always in four-wheel drive, and the Yamaha being four-wheel drive on demand. Unlike the Yamaha, which is air-cooled, this model is water-cooled. See a radiator right here. Not unlike the Arctic Cat. So, to start with, I'm going to get the seat off, and I guess I'll throw the battery charger on it just to see if the battery is going to take a charge while I start looking at the condition of the carburetor. It's funny, all of these have a different way that the seat comes off. On this one, I could see a linkage way in there, and there's a little tiny cable, and I followed it, and it actually comes to this right here, this little loop of wire right here. So this is just give that a pull and pull up on the back of the seat, and the seat comes right out. And well, got some mouse activity here. Nothing living currently, but got some definite mouse nestage in there. And I could see a lot of insulation missing on this wiring harness right here. They've been chewing. So see mouse poop on top of the air filter cover here too. Oh yeah. So the mice have been busy in that air box too. They chewed up a good portion of the foam off of the air filter, and I can see more mouse debris, nesting debris in the bottom there. So I'll get the shop vac out and start cleaning it up. Okay, take the battery out. Battery is low on water, to say the least of its potential problems, but I'll try topping off the water level and see if it takes a charge. Then I'm going to have to clean out the mouse debris from here and see if I can repair the wiring. And then in here, took the air filter out, and this is just chock full of mouse nests, so I'm going to have to clean that out also. I want to get the carburetor out. I can actually smell stale fuel just from opening this up and having the gas cap off, of course. The reason why I get the cap off is the easiest way to get to this carburetor, from what I can see, is to just pull the tank, which I want to make sure that I clean and drain the tank anyways. So I'm going to pull the tank. There's a tank cover that has to be removed, a couple of screws at the back here, and a couple of Phillips head screws up at the front here, and 2 cap screws at the back that have little bushings on them and that, so you want to make sure you don't lose all that hardware. And then the cap off, this whole cover comes right off. That exposes the tank, and I can see the fuel shutoff is over here, so the line must be right underneath here. So I'll work on getting the tank out. Before you pull the tank, you want to disconnect the fuel line. There's actually supposed to be a screw down this recessed hole that's already missing on this one, so then you can take the fuel shutoff knob off, so that it'll, when the tank comes out, this will clear the frame. And then there's your fuel line attached right there. So you want to get that fuel line disconnected either there, or if it's too hard for you to get to that point, you can actually disconnect it from the carburetor right here where my finger is. Once you've disconnected the fuel line, it's just a matter of pulling up on the back of the tank and wiggling as you pull up and back, and the tank will pop right out. And then that gives you nice easy access to the carburetor. So now I'm going to remove the carburetor. Alright, just loosen this hose clamp that allows you to pull off this duct, the intake duct from the airbox, and then loosen this clamp over here and wiggle, and you can pop the carburetor free. And then it's a lot easier when the carburetor is free like that to be able to rotate it so you can get to the screws to disconnect the throttle linkage and the choke and all that. This choke linkage is broken, it's cracked, and then the other thing you want to do is, this is the, down here is the idle adjustment thumb screw. It's a little cable driven thing, just like on the Mikuni carbs. And Mikuni carbs. Anyways, you want to pop that out, just like that. That frees that up. So then you can, like I said, you can rotate the carburetor out easy enough, and it makes it a lot easier to work on it. Take these, take this cover off, and that'll expose the little cam assembly in there that you disconnect the throttle cable from. Just like on the Arctic Cat's Mikuni carburetor, the choke is basically this little plunger assembly, and it's got a little spring on the back side of it, and that actually, you just rotate this plastic nut and that unscrews that. And then there's also a tiny O-ring on here. You want to make sure that that's serviceable before you reinstall it. This has actually got a cracked area on the back here, but I could probably still get this boot to slide on and snap onto there enough so that it'll be serviceable. If I end up ordering parts and this little part's available and it's cheap, I'll just order a new one while I have it. To change that, all you have to do is, this little brass piece comes right off of here, remove the spring, slide the new plastic piece on, and then reassemble. Remove one screw, and it removes this cover, exposes the throttle linkage. You can actually see it, how it works. The easiest way to get these off is press the throttle down, and then I'm going to have to shut the camcorder off to do it, but I'm going to hold that open manually with my finger, and then as I release the thumb throttle, I'll be able to slacken that cable enough to rotate this cable around to that little opening you see right there, and then this little piece will slide right out. Okay, now the carb's completely removed, and I'll be able to take it down onto the workbench and work on it under better conditions, better lighting, clean it up, and install the carb kit. I had already ordered a carb kit without even knowing what the condition of the carburetor was going to be, just based on the smell of the stale gas that I was getting from this, and the fact that it had been sitting so long, and also because the carb kit, which I got online, was only 15 bucks, and I was pleasantly surprised when it came in that it had quite a few pieces. Some of these kits, when they're cheap, you wonder what you're going to get. This is a Shindy kit, part number 03-110. Shindy Products, 82637, carb repair kit for KVF400, years 99 to 02. It's got the bowl gasket, which is the main thing that I really wanted. And then it's got even got the jets. It's got a new float needle. It's got a new air pilot screw. So that's a good kit for 15 bucks.